So if you're broke, the last thing you want to do is to copy what rich people do right now. To wear what they wear, to drive what they drive, to eat where they eat, and especially to buy their investments. Because if you do that, in reality, you're going to be broke. And here's the reason why. Rich people did one thing to become wealthy, and once they're wealthy, they changed their behavior. So if you copy them as rich people, well, you're not gonna get very far. And in this video, that's why exactly I'm gonna tell you the 10 things that rich people do that poor people think they need to do, but in reality, they should be doing something else instead. Now, the very first thing is you don't wanna drive what rich people drive. I have a rich uncle, and he has a car that's valued at around $100,000. Now, if I tried to drive my dream car, which right now is a Ford Raptor, I wouldn't be able to enjoy it. I would only think about the money I spent on this vehicle, over $40,000, the insurance, the maintenance, and everything else. And don't tell me about the gas. The gas, because I live here in Dominican Republic, I may be looking at upwards to over $300 a month. Now, obviously, that doesn't make any sense because I don't need that vehicle. It is pretty, it is beautiful, but I'm not hogging around anything at the moment. So the best thing I can do right now is to just keep driving my little Toyota Corolla 2017 with over 100,000 miles and a lot of life left on it. And I'm gonna be driving it because it's paid for in cash, it's mine, it was a cheap buy. And you know who else did this? Well, there's also a man, his name is Dave Ramsey. He's worth over $200 million and he has a fleet of vehicles, but when he first got bankrupt, well, he was just driving around a used, borrowed Cadillac with over 400,000 miles. You see, rich people may be driving something fancy today, but in the very beginning, they weren't driving anything fancy at all. Just look at their beginnings. Number 2, don't eat what rich people eat. You know, not too long ago, I was watching this show. It's called Worth It. And these guys would go around and try foods at different price points. You know, like one pizza was $1, and then the highest pizza was like over $100 with caviar and gold flakes on it. Now, I tell you this story because a problem happened to me. Watching this show so much, all of a sudden, I developed a taste for expensive things. And I saw that rich people also went to restaurants and they bought this and that. Then all of a sudden, I started to do the same thing. And I took out my date, my wife now, over to a meal, and it was like over $100. To me, that was a big deal. It kind of still is a big deal. And I started to basically check and balance all the money I was spending on restaurants, and it was well over $400 to $500 in 1 month just on going out to eat. That is insanity. To me, it's insanity. So what I focus on now is 2 things, okay? I don't focus on restaurants and eating the fanciest food and the fanciest names. No, I focus on quality foods that don't have any chemicals in them. And then 2, we basically cook all our meals at home. So although now I'm eating better than ever and it tastes much better, I spend a lot less money because we basically just buy all our food and we cook it at home. And once a month or so, we may go out to eat, like a date, like an experience, an activity, but not something we do all the time. Number 3, copying what rich people invest into. It's the worst idea ever, and it's something I did also. One of my favorite investors is, and still was or still is, don't know, but is Warren Buffett, okay? And I used to admire him so much. And I thought in my head, well, if I only copy what Warren Buffett does, then most likely I'm going to have a great result. Now, thankfully for me, Warren Buffett basically said, do not invest like this. It makes no sense if you're just getting started. You're not going to get wealthy because for the most part, when you have billions and billions of dollars, you're just trying to basically preserve your money and grow it just a little bit without taking a bunch of risks. But when I look back into Warren Buffett's past, I saw he was basically investing into companies going bankrupt and making 10x and 20x on his money, which is absolutely insane. So here's what I started to do. Number 1 is I only invest into things I fully comprehend. And number 2 is I only put my money into things that can make me a good profit. Now, that basically means that what might work for a rich person might not work for me because I don't have trillions and billions of dollars. If you just have a few $1,000s, it may just be your best investment is putting that money into a trade job or a degree and then making $60,000 to $80,000 a year and then using that capital to do something else. Number 4, wearing the clothes they wear. I've seen rich people that buy clothes that are like over $400 for a pair of shoes, or buying a purse if you're a lady for over $700 or $1,000. And you may think that, hey, I'm gonna buy these quality brand made things like Gucci, Louis Vuitton, and Prada, and all these other brands. But the truth is, I realized that brands have sold us that image. And if you spend your money on buying things like that, you're not going to get far. So what I focus on when I'm trying to buy quality things is, one, the quality of the craftsmanship. Is this thing really built well? And number 2 is the material that was actually used. Almost all my clothing right now is just made from cotton and organic material. Nothing synthetic, okay? And you might think, Tommy, well, that's because you have money, isn't it? The answer is no. I was in the market for a pair of leather sneakers, and I found this brand. It's called Common Projects, and the shoes go for over $400. I tried to make the math work out in my head, like why I should buy a $400 pair of shoes. It didn't work out, okay? So I went ahead, I went to Goodwill, and I found me a pair of leather sneakers for $15. And they're Forsham, a good brand, but quality craftsmanship and also great material and a great price. They go for $130. I got them for $15, and they still have a bunch of life in them. Number 5, buying a home to feel like you're an adult or you're successful or you finally made it and got everything in order. You know, I was watching a show. It's called The Good Life or The Good Neighbors, and this show is so amazing. I recommend it. It's from the 70s. It's so good, but the main character basically says, I finally figured it out, okay? We spend time working to buy perishable goods to then have to keep working to buy those same goods. You know, it's why we keep working to pay for our rent, why we keep working to pay for our food, that we keep eating and consuming, that we need more and more and more, and we never stop working. So his solution was basically self-independence, or being self-independent. I think that's exactly what it is, or self-sufficient is the word. But I'm not telling you to go move out to a farm. I'm probably gonna do that. But what I am saying is this, it's true, okay? Homes, yeah, rich people tend to own them. They're not bad investments. They're very good. But the truth is that they're also a 30-year agreement, and they're very expensive. Probably the most expensive thing you're ever going to buy in your life. And if you're not careful with it, well, you're going to be stuck in a job you hate just to pay for a house that you don't even live in because you're always at work. It's kind of crazy, right? So here's the solution that I basically found. When I was 24, I bought a home for cash because of those same reasons, because I felt like I need a house. I need to be successful. It's just what you do. Terrible idea. I sold it 1 year later. But what I do now is this. Number 1, ask yourself, do I need a house? If the answer is no, don't buy one. Are you ready to set down roots? If the answer is no, don't buy one. And also, do you have 10 to 20% as a down payment for a home? And if you buy this home, are the payments going to be less than 33% of your monthly income, being that the mortgage is actually on a 15-year note? If the answer is yes to all 3 of those things, then go ahead and do it. It makes sense. You need a home. For me, I have a wife and I have a kid. We do feel like we actually need a home now. Do I want to set down roots? Yes. And can I buy something for that price? The answer is yes. So what do I need to do now is just basically search and look, but be careful. Don't just do it as the next step when it doesn't make sense. Number 6, living for entertainment. It seems that rich people are always going out and experiencing the world. They travel here, they travel there. And you may think that life is basically about just traveling and enjoyment. But the truth is that I was wondering, where did that idea come from? That in order to be happy, I need to travel here and I need to travel there. Well, I did some research and I found out about this guy. His name is Thomas Cook. And this guy basically sold like tourist trips and all this stuff. And he started with that concept that people basically have to invest in memories, because that's the only thing they get to keep. So you should be investing into travel and to doing this and to doing that. The truth is, guys, that yes, rich people do travel, but the truth is they tend to be able to afford it, and they don't come back from vacations broke. I have friends that they go on vacations and they come back and they have literally no money. Well, not just no money, but they're usually in debt with credit card debt and the rest because they did things they weren't supposed to do, okay? For the most part. So what do I recommend? Number one is, if you want to travel, travel because you want to, not because you think it's just what you do with money once you have some money. Number two, if you want to travel, travel in your neighborhood. Not your neighborhood like gonna travel down the street, but for example, I live in Dominican Republic, and this year was the first year I traveled outside of where I lived, okay? So we went to Constanza and to Jarabacoa, and these are all like tourist places that I never had any interest in visiting. My idea was always, well, I need to go to Mexico or Colombia or this foreign place because that's how I know I'm having fun or whatever. No, get to know your home, your country, your state, whatever it is, okay? And then worry about the rest. And on that vacation, I spent less than $500. It's cheap, it's fun, it's good. Number 7, picking a life partner based on looks. Now, I'm pretty sure you noticed this too, but it seems to be that rich people, or especially celebrities, they tend to be married to very beautiful people. And you may think that, well, when I'm going to find the person that I want to marry, they have to be beautiful. They have to be my best friend and all this stuff. And just like before, I try to question almost everything. I even question myself sometimes, okay? But the main thing is I got married just recently, and that's not what I valued when I was actually getting married, because I learned that that's not the right thing to do. I noticed something, okay? For example, there's this magazine, it's called People's Magazine, and they publish the 50 most beautiful people in America. And in 1998, you had Leonardo DiCaprio. I can't even say his name. Look at him, okay? And then in 1994, you had Meg Ryan. Now, obviously, these are two very beautiful people, but today, they're old. And guess what? That beauty has worn out. Am I trying to say they're ugly? The answer is no. I'm just trying to say that they're older, and that beauty they had before, it's gone for the most part. So when you're picking someone to marry based on how they look, well, what are you gonna do when they stop looking that way? And the truth is, I saw a celebrity and he basically said, well, what I liked in my 20s, I didn't like in my 30s. What I liked in my 30s, I didn't like in my 40s. Now, this is a man that had over 8 different marriages. He upgraded like his wives, like he was upgrading a phone. That's a very terrible concept, okay? Marriage is a covenant between you and God, spouse, forever. That's how it's supposed to be. And right now, everyone seems to be getting a divorce. So here's my honest advice to hopefully this doesn't happen to you or to me, obviously. Number one is, when you're picking a spouse, do not pick based on looks. Looks are important, yes, but don't judge them that much because they fade away. Number 2, do not pick someone that is your best friend. That does not matter. For the most part, when you're thinking this way, you're mostly thinking about liking yourself, because you tend to like people just like you, and you tend to make those people your friends. But you want to pick someone, number 3, based on values. For me, especially because I'm a Christian, is that they have Christian values. They honor God, okay? But if you're not a Christian, well, you value, for example, what is their mindset on the world, on children, on money, on what is important in life, you know? Value those things and understand, for example, that although you might have all your ducks in a row, in the end, people can change. But someone changing, or you feel like they're not making enough changes, is not a reason to divorce them at all, okay? Don't abandon people. That's a very true thing. I see a lot of people abandoning people because of superficial things. Don't do that. Number 8, flexing on social media. I got tricked a lot via social media. because I thought that all the people I saw on social media buying this and buying that, that's exactly what I needed to do, that I needed to live their lifestyles. But in reality, I noticed that real rich people, for the most part, they're not on social media that much. But the rich people that are on social media, they're getting rich with social media and using it as a tool. So that means that when you see somebody and you see them posting this brand or this product, do not think that that's exactly what you need to buy, or you see them at some restaurant or something like that, do not think you need to go there. A lot of the times it's just like brand deals and business for the most part, and they do it to make money. So my advice is, one, use social media as a tool. Do not use it to gauge your success, and there is no need to post all the things you're actually doing. Use it as a business strategy. Heck, that's why I use it. I'm here, I provide value, and that's basically what I do. But I'm not here for the most part to show off my life and this and that and to sell you this lifestyle, although a lot of people do. Number 9, diversifying too early. If you ask a rich person, like, where do you have your money invested? It's the worst thing you could possibly do, because you're probably gonna think, well, I needed to invest my money that way. I thought the exact same thing. So you might ask someone like, what do you have your money invested? And they might tell you, well, I have some money here in real estate, some in stocks, some in this business, some in this project, some in over here and over there. And you might think, well, I'm just gonna grab my money and split it into all these different places. And you may also say, well, isn't this the safest thing to do? This way, if this doesn't work, well, I can do this or that. The truth is that if you see what rich people did to actually become rich, a lot of the times they put all their eggs in one basket. They did one thing. They did not split all their money. Remember when Starbucks only served coffee? And that was it, just focused. When McDonald's only served like 3 items, like burgers and fries for the most part, and a Coke, that was it. But then as people become more successful, they tend to expand into different things. But the most important thing is to lock into one thing and do not diversify too early. Yes, after a while, you can diversify, yes, but don't do it too early, because you're gonna split yourself too thin. And yes, putting all your eggs in one basket is risky, but it's not as risky if you spend all your time caring and watching that basket. I heard that from Kobe Bryant once, and I was like, this is so awesome. So I had to share with you guys. Number 10, working for somebody else. Rich people, you hear this all the time. I'm not gonna trade my time for money. I'm not gonna work for anybody else. I have my business, this and that. The truth is that most rich people, very many of them, guess what they did, okay? They had a job at first, and jobs are okay to have them. But it is true what they say, a job can trap you and keep you locked in for a long time. So I recommend 2 things, okay? First, understand that 80% of jobs out there suck, but 20% of jobs are actually good. So 2, how do you find a good job? The answer is find a job that helps you with what you need or want to become. So if you need money, any job would do for the most part. But if you want to learn a certain skill, work for somebody else that uses that skill. That way you can learn on their dollar and you also get paid to do it. Here's an example. When I wanted to do YouTube, I worked for 2 YouTubers, okay? I'll say their names, no big deal. I work for Bella Fernandez, which is like a fitness influencer. And number 2, I work for Neverworld, which is basically like an anime reviewer. And these 2 people, they paid me to edit their videos. Something I was already doing for free in my house with my videos. And on top of that, they also taught me many things that I was doing wrong via me watching them. So I got to save so much time. I got to make money. And on top of that, it just fast forward just about everything. So that's the 20% of the jobs that actually don't suck. The jobs you can actually get something out of that actually makes sense, okay? But don't get stuck in a job forever. Now, I don't want you guys to leave this video without any actionable step of what you can actually do today, right now, okay? I want you to read a book. It's called Your Money or Your Life by Vicky. And I want you right now to write down all of your bills, everything you spend money on, and then write down exactly how much money you make per hour. And I want you to divide each bill by that per hour rate. If you get paid on a salary basis, just divide it by 2,000, and that most likely will give you a rough average of what you make per hour. After taxes, just deduct the taxes and so on. But let's say, for example, you're spending $500 like I was eating out, and you're making approximately like $20 an hour. Well, that's about 5 times 5, 25. That's 25 hours of my time going to eating some chicken at some restaurant. Is that worth it? The answer is no. Every time you spend money, it is energy. It is your life, because you have to trade your life to get it. You see what I'm saying? So I want you to do that and calculate each bill, everything, and see how much life is costing you and see if it's worth it or not. If it's not, then don't keep paying it. Stop. See you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.